but I got to paint you a picture of how I watched the Penn State Wisco game.
I'm excited.
It was.
Oh wait, no, I saw the fucking picture on Facebook. That was crazy.
Yeah, well, there's more of a story that goes into it than that.
Oh, thank God.
Let's just say I was in a motel parking lot. I ended up in a motel parking lot screaming in my truck. Like, people were concerned. Let's just say that. Like, people were concerned.
Oh wait, did you want to start off with banter before the intro?
He did it. It's fine.
Was that the banter? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Big fan of banter.
Yeah. I really like banter.
I love banter.
People are definitely going to hear us talking.
Okay, I gotta talk to you after the show. Don't tell anybody. You're doing great. Yeah, go now. You're on. Go.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Smalls.
Sick transition.
Seamless. It's your boy Smalls. Back on All Purpose Garbage, TFTB's college football show. And just like every week, I am here with my boy, Deke. Deke, how's it going, brother?
It's good, man. I'm quickly becoming a massive fan of not just college football, but of this show in terms of, like, this is probably not my favorite show to do because Two Beers Deep's still on the roster, but there's something about college football that is, I can't explain. This is the first time in my life that I'm feeling it. I love it.
It's hard to put into words, but like there is something special about it where like you get so into it. You get into all
for
the
children, like kids, like this little 19-year-old. I'm betting a large amount of money on this 19-year-old if he can run the football.
Oh yeah, no, and dude, it like I said before, it makes my blood pump at a different rate than what it is the rest of the year. There's just something special about it, especially, I mean, it's just football in general, but dude, college, this is why, I mean, hopefully you're starting to see why I've been such a big college football guy.
I mean, I never went to a big school, you know what I mean? Like, I never had an allegiance, so I think that kind of factored into it, but at the same time, I just never, I mean, the real reason I got heavy into NFL football even was just fantasy. Yeah. And I remember there was one time where I said, is there college fantasy? And there was, but it was a off-brand site that was running it, and there was a waiting list of like 20 people. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of math, bro.
Yeah. You can do it, but I think it's just so much more fun gambling because it's such a
100%.
wild card. It's such a wild ride gambling on college football.
100%.
Until you find those locks, like I said last year, my lock was Coastal covering every game. Like once you find those weird things that you can make money on, and then still losing all your parlays. Once you find that one team, though, it gets so fun because next thing you know, you're starting to watch MAC games because you have money on it, you know, and it gets fun. But, Deke, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, brother, I am actually just finishing. So Sonny was with my cousin this weekend. This is a Tennessee Brew Works Hippie and Cowboys IPA, and then I'm going to switch over to a Happen Harry's Nash IPA, which this is from the family tree of Jack Daniel's Distillery. So a member of that family made this beer, and both are Nashville big staples, and they're good, man. What about yourself?
Well, I got the Humble White Claw here tonight. Deke, you want to know why I have the Humble White Claw with me?
I actually do.
All right.
I'm pretty concerned for you. Are you feeling okay?
I feel fine.
Okay,
but what's the first letter in White Claw?
Sadness.
No.
W.
That's right. Fucking W. Penn State got that dub against that other piece of shit W, Wisconsin. Dude, I did see another one. It was it literally had a giant W on it whenever I went to go buy beer today. But it was like a blueberry lemon pie ale.
Yeah, no. Do the White Claw.
Out on that. Yeah.
Yeah, stick with the White Claws.
But yeah, big dub this weekend. We'll get into it.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that game.
Yeah. All right, let's just hop right into the recap. So, Deke, start off with Ohio State, Minnesota. A game that I think surprised a lot of people, but at the same time didn't. So, first half, C.J. Stroud was the first quarterback I can remember that looked shaky, starting for Ohio State at the beginning of the year. Like I mean,
you look at that tree, bro. You got Justin Fields, you got Haskins, you got a deep tree there of Ohio State guys recently. Stroud, I like the 4.5 thing, but he did look shaky. He looked beatable. That's how I'll word it.
He looked not confident.
Yes.
That was the biggest takeaway for me, was that he can get shook.
Yep.
And not that because I mean, it's hard to lose when you have Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, some of the weapons. Dude,
Olave's a freak, and I love that kid, man.
He is. Ohio State running backs are also so. As a Penn State fan, they're so fucking annoying to me because they're always so good, and they'll run it on a third down and convert like every time. It's so annoying. But when you have that offense around you, I mean, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Plus, Ryan Day is just phenomenal at play calling. But Ryan
Day, here's what I'll say, surprised me how quickly he picked up an elite team. You know what I mean? Like I give credit, all the credit in the world, to Dabo Swinney for making a machine the same way Saban has a machine.
Yep.
Ryan Day, bro, he picked up what Urban put down, and it's a machine.
He did. I think part of it was because he was some of the genius behind Urban Meyer.
See, that was the thing. I didn't know anything about him before he became in there.
Yep. And but that's the thing. If you have a play caller like that, even with a young quarterback, he just knew what to dial up. He knew what plays to call in order to.
Hell yeah!
It's not hard for Chris Olave to get open, but at the same time, it's
still got to make those plays. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, it's an art to get those guys open with a young quarterback. So I think it was definitely a shock going into half. Like I remember at one point, Joel Klatt was like, "Yeah, right now Ohio State's looking for answers," and that is not something you really hear. Like they get in close games, but they've never really been the team looking for answers.
Yeah,
and I think a huge hit to Minnesota that game was Ibrahim getting hurt, because that guy is a fucking beast. I mean, he was running all over that defense, man, and that defense doesn't look that strong. Just like I said last week, like they're just not really the staple of that team, but they can run up the score, no problem. Minnesota put up a great fight, though.
Can we still say row that boat?
I don't think so.
It's still like a thing, you know what I mean?
PJ Fleck is such a nerd.
But it started off at Western Michigan, I believe.
Yep.
And it was row the boat. You're building it, and he took that to Minnesota, and it worked
for a year.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Give him the year. I'll give him the year. But man, I think I said row the boat last week on Two Beers Deep, and Josh just laughed.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like
Yep.
It was cool for a minute.
Yep. No, I don't know. I've never been a big PJ Fleck guy. I think he's a lot of talk and a lot of he's corny. He's just a corny motherfucker. But
Agreed.
I mean, it worked. He gets his guys ready to go at the very least.
He's a great like college kid coach is how I word it. I don't think I'd call him a great college coach, but he's like, if I'm a kid in college that's not quite that blue chip level, I'd consider going to Minnesota just for him.
Absolutely. But while Ohio State definitely looked shaky going in halftime, I don't think anyone was surprised that they dialed up what they did in the second half there. Like they just ran away with it. Moving on, I think the biggest game of the year, or at least I don't know if it's the most telling game of the year or not yet. Georgia absolutely shut Clemson the fuck out.
I think we look back and we say this game will have implications on the playoffs, is how I'll word it. And it's crazy for week one, but I do think they'll have implications.
Yep. The problem so I think I've had this take before where I think I was saying that it would be a lot harder for Georgia to lose this game and still make the playoff. I was wrong, right hand up. I was wrong on that one. Part of it is because the ACC had a fucking terrible weekend.
100%.
The ACC they looked so bad. Like we'll get into Miami too, but between Miami and UNC both losing, that doesn't bode well for Clemson because I mean, who else do they have on their schedule? Even potentially.
That's the thing is you start this they haven't really played big names like this off the rip, unless I could be wrong on that statement. What I'm saying is that Clemson has gotten to that point where they're kind of that same schedule as Bama. Couple tough teams, but a lot of softballs here.
Yep.
But you gotta beat the tough teams to get in at the end there because it's still. I know we bang the chains for 12 teams here, say 8 teams, whatever.
Yep.
It's still just 4 teams that make the playoffs, man. And this Clemson team does not look ready.
Yeah,
week one, but
it's week one, and there are going to be a ton of overreactions, I think.
100%.
So I'm not going to put this loss on DJU. I think part of it's Clemson's play calling was not what it could have been or should have been. Georgia's front seven just absolutely ran train up front against Clemson's line. I mean, dude, DJ was just running for his life.
That's what I'm saying here, man. Though, look at this. So you look at their carries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lynn J. Dixon had 1 carry for 10 yards. Will Shipley, 4 carries for 7 yards, which big Will Shipley guys on this show. Just want to bring that up. You brought that up. Big Kobe Pace guys, first name, 4 carries for 7 yards. DJ had 14 carries for negative 22 yards.
Dude, he was running for his life, dude. Well, and I think part of it is because the Georgia defense was as advertised. I know that Clemson was a little unimaginative when it came to the offense, but like at the same time, it's still Clemson. You know, they shut Clemson out. And I don't think JT Daniels really looked that great because Clemson's D is also great.
No.
But, like, I mean, and I'm pretty sure if I recall, the one touchdown was a pick 6.
It was.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, 10-3 was a very good score for this game.
Yep, 100%.
It was a 10-3 game.
Absolutely. But it was a great game, though. Overall, it was like a smash mouth defensive game.
And felt like a late season finish.
Yep, 100%. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Georgia, I think, has a tough road ahead for sure because the SEC is always tough. But Clemson not looking good, man, just because of how the ACC played this weekend.
Agreed.
Third one I got, Bama's going to Bama. Everyone was questioning,
44-13 is not bad. I'm just throwing that up. Like, I know Miami, I think they were ranked 14th in the country at that point.
Yeah.
But 44-13's could have been a lot worse.
They got embarrassed, and it's because Nick Saban's going to Saban, Bama's going to Bama.
Yes.
It's just there was no surprise here. Bryce Young, I was a little nervous about saying that Bryce Young is it. He's it. But I think, like I said before, Miami's season is going to hinge on how Derek King's
100%.
knee looks, and he did not look good because he lost a step. Clearly,
and he was running for his life because you're up against. I mean, Alabama recruits grown men.
Yeah, so I can't say I was super surprised by this. I thought Miami would put up a little more of a fight. I think it was embarrassing that they brought up the fucking turnover chain after Bama was running,
and then it got called back.
Yeah,
that was probably because you think about now that I'm 28 now. My dad said something famous, Smalls, once to me, where he said, you're getting old when you buy jerseys for guys younger than you.
Yeah.
And now, so my I have a Duck jersey who's younger than me and a Bud Dupree who's a month older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this turnover chain situation, and the dude, picked off Bama, and he puts the chain on, and then it comes back, and he just rips it off, and it's like that kid embarrassed, beyond belief, and damn it, that's why I hate the turnover chain sometimes. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it does that.
I think it's a little played out at this point. In my opinion, I think it's played out. It was great when they first came out with it, but so many other teams have come out with things that are similar to that. And
I'll have a question for you when we get down to the Penn State Wisco game, because there's things that I'm learning that there's just traditions that are similar to that but different and stuff like that. So remind me if I got the question. But I agree, it is a little played out.
Yeah, just at this point. And I get that it's a tradition and, kind of took the world by storm a little bit when they first started doing it. But that was not the game to bring it out. I don't care if you were trying to keep morale up. Doesn't matter. Keep it away. Y'all are getting fucking getting embarrassed.
Just take your pick and be happy.
Yeah. Next one I got UCLA beating LSU. Don't know.
Man.
I don't know if UCLA is legit or Coach O just had lightning in a bottle with that Joe Burrow team. I can't tell.
Those sissy blue shirts.
That is so great that came back. And I love Coach O, but that is so funny that came back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah. Greg and I had a conversation at the peak of Coach O. So you're walking off, and this is after the season the next year. You have the greatest college football season arguably ever, arguably the greatest team ever. Mm-hmm. You walk away, you're happy as a clam. And I asked Greg, should Coach O get a lifetime contract at LSU? Performance-based? Absolutely not. Coach O, though, is LSU. So it's one of those things where it's it was an honest question about how serious LSU takes themselves.
Yep.
I personally think they should have offered it because I don't think LSU will ever reach that again. And no matter what they do, they'll never come near that team. So it's like, you know what? We're going to offer the dude that did that a lifetime contract.
Yep.
I still stand by that statement because I don't think LSU is real as a university. Like, they have some great players, but whatever. But man, I think Chip Kelly might be legit.
I think he dialed some plays up. Dude, DCR looked good. Like, against... Dude, they made
Agreed.
Derek Stingley look like a chump.
The guy that I raved about last week.
Yeah. Dude, I think UCLA might be good. I don't know if they're
What's good for
legit.
UCLA from your mind? Like, is it just winning their conference or is it top 4?
Not top 4. I think top
Okay.
4 is... They don't have that kind of tradition yet. Who knows, But I think Chip Kelly is at least bringing them back to relevance. And I think where they're at this week in the rankings, which we'll also get to, 16,
Yes.
That's a good UCLA team. Like,
Agreed.
they should be
Dangerous.
happy with that, 100%. I think they're only just getting started, too. I think the Pac-12 is also wide open, so who knows what's going to happen. But LSU just getting pretty much embarrassed. Like, I'll say it, like, pretty much embarrassed. Like, that, I know the score doesn't really read that way, but it wasn't that close.
It was. Yeah, no, not at all. UCLA looked very dominant.
Yeah. Never really had a doubt, honestly. All right. Also, I forget what their quarterback's name is. Garbage. Cannot. Matt
LSU's?
Campbell. I think Matt Campbell. No, that's not it.
Let me look it up real quick.
I thought it was Campbell.
It might be Matt Campbell
or
Max Johnson.
Max Johnson. I don't
Miles.
know why.
Wait, Miles Brennan is there?
Yeah,
Why do I know that name?
I've heard that name too. I kind of forget where it's from.
I feel like if he's on QB1, I'm aware of him.
I'm dead tired right now.
We did just finish our TFTB fantasy football draft,
Yep.
in which I don't think I'm going to lose. Do you know who I play week 1, Smalls?
Who?
Steph.
Aw.
I feel so bad. It's 124-68 was the projected.
Well, she has to set her lineup though, right?
Well,
Yeah, she's got a
she needs to replace Robert Tanyan with Dominique.
yeah, Dominique Daphne.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, moving on to. All right, Deke. I gave you a little.
Yeah, buddy.
Gave you a little bit of a preview.
Hey, I will fully admit, I fucked up.
Hey, I'm glad you did. Let me paint you a picture. Okay, so me and it's all right. Wafted in. Me and the lady
fellow
Yep. We decided.
who I met. She is lovely.
Appreciate that. We booked a trip. Just like I'm a big outdoors guy, big hiking guy. So we went up to Acadia since we're kind of close up here in New England. So went up there, but I told her beforehand. I was like, I will not miss this game. I will do
Let her
whatever
know.
it takes. And we had the dog with us, so we couldn't really go to a bar. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna miss this game. Brought the TV. Brought the iPhone adapter, brought extension cords, the whole shebang. I was literally in the woods watching the first half.
The picture was epic for the first half.
Appreciate it, yeah. So the problem was neither one of us were getting great service, so it kept cutting in and out.
Yep.
So we would have to restart our phones. We kept having to close the app, open it up again. It was just getting annoying. So we were like, okay, second half, we're going to go. We have to just – I was like, I don't give a shit. We're watching this game somewhere. So we found a motel parking lot right outside of Acadia National Park. We have the phone just right there on the dash, and I'm sitting in my truck in a motel parking lot screaming at my iPhone, which no one else can see. No one else knows. If anyone was around me, and there were plenty of people around us, no one knows why I'm screaming my dick off. So,
Is she in the car with you,
Yeah.
the ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
Yikes! Did she went to Penn State?
She did. She's a
Okay,
Penn State
okay.
football fan as well.
It would be
so
weird if
gets
she
it.
didn't, but
She
okay.
gets
I just
it.
want to check.
She gets it. But I'm every single play good or bad, I am screaming at my phone because that's just how I get.
That makes sense. That checks out.
And there were people around us that were concerned.
I believe that on a very human level that people were checking your car.
They were concerned. At one point, I yelled, "Fuck you, Graham Mertz, you prima donna piece of shit." And there was a lady on the second floor balcony that looked down like, "Is everything okay?" And
who is Graham?
Yeah. And there was this elderly couple right next to us that looked like they were hesitant to drive off because they were pretty sure that I was just screaming at my girlfriend.
Yeah.
It was a tough scene. And then at the end of the game, I had to get out of my truck, do a lap, screaming, yelling, basically saying, fuck you, Wisconsin. James Franklin, you're my hero, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So that's how I ended up watching the game, was in a motel parking lot looking like a fucking buffoon. But I don't care. I have no
Screw
shame.
that. They're 1-0, undefeated. Here's my question for you.
Yeah.
What's a lawn boy?
No one really knows.
All right. I just wanted to ask because it kind of came in the essence of the turnover chain, but not really. Like
for
creation
the Penn State
of something.
backs. Penn State running backs are the lawn boys. They're
okay.
the lawn boys. So they do have a chain, and it just says lawn boys. I
did not know running backs. So.
Mm-hmm. So at one point, before we closed down the store, I had a lawn boys shirt on the store.
You did.
I did.
Still, up to that point, did not ask what it was.
Yep. But yeah, so that's what the lawn boys are. Back to the game though, this was a very promising win because the defense. First of all, both defenses in that game were fantastic, but Penn State's defense looks actually really fucking good. Ellis Brooks is a
much
dog.
better than I expected.
Yeah, Ellis Brooks is a dog. Jaquan Brisker gets hurt 3 times and still ends up getting what should have been the game-sealing interception, and they pick fucking Graham Mertz off again. Dude, I was elated to see that, and what I was happy about was the offense was not great. Clifford was not great, but they were good.
That's kind
where
of my
they
big
needed
point,
to be.
man. Clifford's not gonna do it, but as long as the defense can hold teams, Clifford won't lose you games.
That's the thing.
He's just not really gonna win you games.
At least last year he definitely lost us games, but this year,
yeah.
It looks like Yursich. They had 1 first down in the first half, which is not good. But Yursich finally was able to get Jahan Dotson open, and that was the game changer. We had the explosive plays. Yeah. That and Wisconsin didn't. I think that was the big takeaway was we had the explosive plays, well, albeit not a ton of them, but we had the plays. They did
more than Wisco.
Exactly, and it's great knowing that sets the tone for the year because while the defense was on the field for 40-plus minutes, which is tough, that at least gives that team enough confidence to just say, all right, fuck it. Now we got that out of the way. Now we're going to work out the kinks on the offense, get the tight ends looking a little better, especially now that we have Ball State coming up. They will be able to work out some things. But I'm so fucking excited for that defense.
Yeah.
That defense
it was a great win for Penn State.
And that kid that I was talking to you about, Jesse Lucchetta, looked fantastic at the end. He was playing like at the end outside linebacker. Looked
good for
really
him, man.
Good.
Because that's tough. That's one of those things where you're like, all right, like really realistically, as kind of a middle of the pack guy, am I going to be to the next level? Am I going to the NFL? To switch positions like that is massive at that level.
Yep.
So what a guy.
Yep. Well, what they're saying that helped him is, I guess, when he was playing inside linebacker was he wasn't great with the split-second decisions. He wasn't running the defense the way an inside linebacker should. Once they took those decisions out of his hands and he's just running downfield, that's what he's good at. He's good at getting around the edges, good at just blocking up he looked really good. So I'm so fucking happy. So happy that was one of, I think that not only is James Franklin's signature win over the past like 2 years, at least so far, it at least gives me hope that they have some stuff figured out, and the team
But
did
that's the
not
thing.
quit.
Wisco's not this world beater, but they are a very solid school that you guys have to play. So to
On
come
the
out in
road.
week one, yes, to come out in week one on the road against a solid, always middle of the pack team that does not have many weaknesses, win 16-10. I mean, I took Wisco minus 5.5. So
Yep.
I was very vocal about the reason I took that, and I'm glad I lost just for you.
Well, dude, fuck Graham Mertz. Fuck Graham Mertz.
Let's go, baby.
Prima donna piece of shit. All right, let's go on to this week's rankings.
Hell yeah.
A lot of movement this week. Oklahoma squeezed one out against Tulane.
Hate Oklahoma.
Frauds.
Dude, Tulane is crazy.
Yeah.
Are they isn't it Green Wave? Are they the Green
Yep.
Wave? Yeah. Give me Tulane all day.
Yep. Dude, yeah. Oklahoma is a fraud with a capital fucking F.
Yep.
Like, it's so, and what bugs me is that no one fucking acknowledges it because
No, everyone sucks off Lincoln Riley and calls it a day. It's like, brother.
Yeah, it's so annoying too because I think on Fox the bottom like headline was like before they went into half it was like Oklahoma dominates or something like that, and it's like,
Yep.
Did you watch the fucking game? Like, it wasn't even close. Obviously Georgia sneaks into that second spot over after beating Clemson. Clemson slides down to 6. A little surprised they didn't slide down a little more, but it is still Clemson.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you lost to a top tier team by a touchdown. I don't hate it. I would have, if you would have told me that Clemson was in the double 10.
Yeah.
I would have been like, okay, like,
Yeah.
they'll get back up there, but all right, whatever. I think that it's damning that they have. So I want to touch on Notre Dame a little bit. I want
Yeah.
to touch on Iowa, and we'll get to this. Clemson at 6, I think, is a blessing, and it's due to the fact that Clemson has been good for so many years.
Yep, I agree. Notre Dame, I'm glad you touched on that.
Yeah, dude. Wow. Do you want to, I don't know, murder children?
We'll get to that. In a little
Wow.
bit. A little foreshadowing right there. So I don't know how they jumped up 2 spots, and I don't know how, because Florida State is not a legit program at the moment. I don't get how you go to double OT against fucking Florida State and you jump.
Can't stand it.
The boner that these voters have for Notre Dame always shocks me. I
hate Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame.
damn
I
it.
hate Notre Dame.
God damn
Florida State is nowhere near a top. They might be top 50. You know what I mean? Like, not being a jerk,
Yep.
being real. And the fact that Florida State lost that game, Notre Dame did not win it, and Notre Dame is the 8th team in the country. Like, I can sit here and realistically make a stance that USC should be higher than Notre Dame.
100%.
I hate Notre Dame.
100%. Yeah, I just don't get it. Iowa State slid back, which, I mean, they beat Northern Iowa. Whoop de fucking do. And Brock Purdy and Breece Hall did not look good. Now there might be a few reasons for that. They might have wanted to protect their playbook a little bit for this weekend's game.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think it's a very real concern.
Yep, but it just looked like a team that was just kind of asleep.
Yeah.
Iowa shocked me. I was wrong about them.
That's my one call, because I called it on 2 Beers Deep too, because Josh and Greg were both like, no, they're going to lose. I was like, dude, it just, when Iowa, we talked about this last week, when Iowa slept on, they have a good team. When they're highly touted, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know. I might ride Iowa this year.
Yep, their defense looked really good. Their offense has some improvement. That has to happen. But their defense looks really good. But the fact that they embarrassed Indiana the way that they did, dude, Michael Penix Jr. looked like a fraud.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, Indiana, granted, like, Indiana's not some world beater, right? They're not this like crazy, but they're a consistent D1 type of community.
At least now.
Like, I
with
like,
Tom
yeah,
Allen.
like, there's something to be said about the fact that Indiana can still develop talent and has guys that walk through there, and Iowa ransacked them.
Yep, 100%. My boys slid up. I think it's well deserved.
I like 11.
Yep, I think it's well deserved. Any higher, I would have raised my eyebrows a little bit. We beat a really good Wisco team, so I'm not going to take that away from us. But at the same time, I think 11 right now is pretty fair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't be mad at 11.
Yeah, because we were in a Big Ten dogfight. You can't always tell from watching Big Ten games who the best, how good a team actually is. Because you're there to win, not necessarily look the best.
I think that it speaks, and I don't want to skip a bunch of teams. It speaks to how good Penn State is that Wisconsin is still at 18.
I agree. They honestly just kind of flopped. Flip-flopped right there. And I think that's fair, honestly. Like,
100%.
Watching that game, Wisconsin was
Wisco's
not a bad
bad.
team.
No, they're not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think 11 right now is fair. Oregon slid
Lions
back
eat
a little
Badgers.
bit. Did not put up as impressive of a performance against
No, I was a
Fresno
little
State.
let down.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little let down with Oregon.
That might be another situation where they're trying to
hide the playbook.
Because they're playing OSU this weekend, so I get it. If that is the case, they might have just been sleepwalking too. But I'm not ready to hit the panic button quite yet on Oregon. Florida, fair. I don't know. USC, fair.
Florida's just there for me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like USC, I have a love-hate relationship with. Florida's just there for me, and then we get to Texas, who.
Yep.
I had 4 hits as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
One was the under for the UNC game. One was Iowa -3.5. One was Bama -18.5, and then one was Texas 8.
Yep. They handled Louisiana, and Louisiana's a good team.
We talked about the Raging Cajuns last week, man.
Yep, I think Louisiana's a good team, and Sark had them coached up. They're not back yet. No, definitely not back yet. But
I think Steve Sarkisian is the guy that can get that team back. Just there's no fanfare, there's no hype, there's nothing crazy, there's no Herman. It's just Sarkisian and a good offense. Offensive plan. Yeah, not offense, but
UCLA making this big of a jump is a little it's a little sus. I think it's a big jump. I think they should be ranked. Jumping all the way up to 16, though, I think is a bit of a stretch.
They should be ahead of Wisco, in my opinion. They should be ahead. That's the tough thing. They should be ahead of every team below them, arguably, other than maybe Coastal, just because Coastal came out last year as a top 10 team. But I do think that 16 is a bit high for going from on to 16. But there's not a team below them that I think can beat them right now, outside of Miami if they get their shit together, maybe.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. Coastal, they did what they had to do. I'm not.
They got a special place in your heart.
Oh yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go. And we got Wisconsin, which we already touched on. Virginia Tech. I think the voters are jumping the gun a little bit on Virginia Tech.
Tech's a weird school for me, dude. I feel like they always have some talent, but I feel like people always love Virginia Tech for no reason.
Yeah. They have a lot of tradition there, but they haven't been good for a little while now.
They always have a guy here. I mean, they had Edmonds that went to the Bills. They had the cornerback with the back problems that went last year.
Yep.
I can't remember his name. He was amazing. They always have some talent out of there. It just never seems to connect.
It's been a while. I think late 2000s was really the last time they were great. But
is that Vic?
No, they had some dogs after that.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a few good years back when Beamer was still there. But I think people were jumping the gun a little bit. Yeah, they beat UNC, but I think part of it was just because UNC. I don't want to say they're frauds. I think they were asleep. Sam Howell was not good. Not good.
Caleb Farley, by the way. Farley out of damn it, I missed it. Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna say, man. I'm not happy that Sam Howell looked bad, but there is something to be said about the way that I know you liked him a little bit. Malik and Elzess love this kid. Man, he just feels like a game manager to the nth degree to me.
Yep. I think he has an arm. It seemed like he was making terrible decisions. Ole Miss, I can see it. They beat the shit out of Louisville without Lane Kiffin on the sideline. So I think that's why they made the jump. I get it. And they had people were looking at him already before week 1, so I get it. Utah, I don't really give a fuck about Utah. Miami,
they're just there. Utah's a good filler.
Miami, I think they might be a little overranked here just because they did not look good whatsoever on it. I get that they were playing Bama.
If they would have fallen out of being ranked, I wouldn't have been surprised. It's not working.
100%. Arizona State, don't really give a fuck about Arizona State. They're going to hover around that ranking for like really all year.
Yep.
UNC dropping that far totally makes sense. I'm
They deserve to be ranked,
Yep.
but they should have fallen.
Auburn, I think it's just the manner in which they won, but they also only beat Akron. But at the same time, they look good. It's just
Auburn's one of those programs, man.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see. I think the fact that they are ranked now will make the Week 3 matchup at Beaver Stadium against Penn State that much more amplified. I think that'll actually be a really good game. So, all right. Usually we won't talk that much about rankings going forward. There was just a lot of movement after Week 1.
Ton.
So
I like it.
All right. Deke, let's go to you on tap.
Hell yeah, brother. On tap, we got Heisman odds. The one thing we were joking about earlier is that it is heavy, per usual, quarterback driven. Coming out of the number one, obviously, situation from this weekend, we touched on it a little bit. Bryce Young from Alabama at plus 400 currently. It's tough, Smalls. Normally, the favorite heading into Heisman favorites is the guy. We look at recent memory. Obviously, Devontae Smith, due to injuries and a couple other situations there, stole the Heisman last year. But normally, the guy in the best situation that comes out hot is the Heisman favorite. The other guy who entered the season as the Heisman favorite that has now been replaced is Spencer Rattler, currently at plus 800. He's actually, if I'm going to be a betting man, that is who I put my money on right now because he is plus 800. I think Rattler can invest in himself past what the team can provide. Bryce Young might be hindered by how good Alabama is. DJ Agololo, sorry. I'm not even going to try, man.
Yep.
But he's plus 1,200 right now. I despise his week 1 performance. I think he looked a little shaky, but it's against arguably a top 3 defense in the country right now in Georgia. So I don't mind you betting on DJ at plus 1,200. A lot of things going to change. So we'll see how that goes. And then my late riser, Matt Corr out of Ole Miss at plus 1,200, which is the same odds as DJ. Corral's been having a ton of, late kind of push. I am not surprised that he'll get some kind of a late second round grade, which will be thrusted to a late first, which will most likely see him taken in the first round of the NFL draft if he comes out this year. I'm not sure of his status, to be completely honest with you. And then let's get to 3 names that I really like with the odds. So if I'm going to like DJ Smalls, I'm going to like Justin Ross, wide receiver out of Clemson. Yep. Do I believe that a wide receiver gets Heisman again? Absolutely not. But at plus 10,000 odds, throw a buck on it, call it a day. If DJ is going to progress with this team, there is going to be a wide receiver that catches those balls. He is by far the best receiver, in my opinion, on Clemson's team. Another guy here, we talked about him, DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson at plus 5,000 odds. If UCLA is legit, there is a Heisman candidate on that roster by the name of DTR. Mm-hmm. Plus 5,000, what's the downside to throw a couple on him? If we come out of this, Smalls, and UCLA becomes a top 4 playoff team, that's a Heisman winner right there. Mm-hmm. A lot to be seen, but we'll get there. And then the last guy at plus 8,000 odds, another wide receiver, the Ohio State's Chris Olave. You just get excited about this kid. He feels electric. He feels great. If we can get better quarterback play out of CJ Stroud, who is plus 1,200 right now, I could see Olave sneaking in there. Do I see a wide receiver winning the Heisman? No, but these odds are really good right now.
Yep. Yeah, the problem with the guys that you talked about is that outside of those last few, they're all expected.
Yes.
Heisman winners are never the guys that you expect, which is why I still like my bet on Malik Willis.
Yeah.
He looked really good. Now they're playing Campbell. I don't even know where Campbell is.
That's the tough thing is it's a competition base for Liberty, but at the same time, it's the same type of conversation I give Dorian Thompson-Robinson, which is if this team becomes something, it's because of that guy.
Yep. I think a good comparison for Malik Willis is Lamar Jackson. And if you look at the stats, are pretty similar. And that's, why not? That's why I'm still a big Malik Willis guy. We'll see how their schedule plays out. They're playing Syracuse, which they beat last year. So they do have a few games on their schedule that might raise. They're playing Ole Miss near the end of the year. Could be a great game. Playing Army, also playing Louisiana. So they're playing some dogs. It's just,
they got some big heads coming out there.
So, yeah, love that. Always got to talk Heisman. But I guarantee, though, it's going to be a guy that we're not going to see coming. Unless it's a Chris Olave type, which I could see.
Hey, JT Daniels at plus 1,500.
He just didn't look quite. The fact that CJ Stroud, it's literally just because he's the Ohio State quarterback. He did not look like a Heisman quarterback because he looked uncertain. Heisman quarterbacks don't look that way. They never do. So I think that is. I would never put my money on CJ Stroud.
Yep.
So, all right. Coach quote of the week.
He couldn't get me a shrunken head, so I got a T-shirt.
All right. This is the one that made the news. I'm in favor of execution. Maybe our entire team needs to be executed after tonight. So, Brian Kelly went... there's so much to unpack here. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to play off of a 70s Notre Dame coach quote with something like, hey, are you, he was asked, like, hey, what do you feel about your team's execution? And he was like, I'm in favor of it. And Brian Kelly
said, I'm going to murder them.
And Brian Kelly, I know that it was a joke, but, man, this guy would be the worst stand-up on earth because his delivery is fucking dog shit. Like, just, man, I know what he was trying to say here. He was trying to make a joke. But wow.
It wasn't a good joke is my problem.
Yeah.
It's not that he said he would murder children. It's not that he said all his guys should be executed. It's not even that he almost lost to FSU. You can't set up your own joke and assume it's okay. You just can't. Like, I get it. Like, he's older. We got to let him live. There's no human way you can set up your own joke. Like, if she would have said, do you believe you executed? And he said, all our guys should be executed after that game.
Yeah, sure.
Great. The fact that he set it up, big problems here, Kelly. Big.
Dude, this is one of the best quotes. It's for me. It's
so uniquely weird.
Dude, this is off with that Coastal coach back in the day.
Meow. We don't need a bunch of cats. We need a bunch of dogs.
We need a bunch of dogs.
Worry about my armband. Worry about my wristband. Worry about my meow. We need some dogs.
Oh my god, dude! What a fucking moment that was.
All right, that was electric.
So we got the gauntlet going down. We got a few, not as many big games this week. A lot of big non-conference games though. Got a few to look at here. Oregon, Ohio State. I'm gonna choose Ohio State here because it's Ohio State, and Thibodeau is a little question. He's day-to-day right now, so I think that'll play a big part. Oregon, again, they might have been hiding their playbook a little for this game, but they looked a little shaky. Dropped a little bit in the AP poll, so I'm going Ohio State here. Easy.
Yeah, so Ohio State comes in at, and I'm going to write them down just so I get them. Ohio State is 14.5 points favorite. I think it's going to be a tough game in the first half, as we've seen. I think Thibodeau's a dog. I like Oregon. Give me Ohio State at minus 14.5, and then give me the under. This is a big line. It's set at 63.5. Just so you know, the lines last week, I hit the under on one. The rest I missed. I took the over on 49, over on 49, over on 46, over on 61, over on 57. I'm scared of the over now. Give me the under there at 63.5, like, especially with a weak Oregon offense.
Yeah, no, I don't know. The over-under on that game kind of scares me a little bit. I'm trying to stay away from it. Yeah, I don't know. Ohio State, they have the firepower to put up a fuck ton of points. And I think it might just be a shootout that Oregon has to just try to keep up with. And
that's the thing. I know Oregon put up 31 against Fresno State, but they also they let up 24 points against Fresno State. My situation here is I think Ohio State comes out. I do think Ohio State puts up maybe 34 points, which is half of it. I don't think Oregon puts up 31 again against an Ohio State defense that is above average.
Yeah. We'll see. I think that's yet to be seen on their defense.
Agreed.
In my opinion. But Iowa State, big in-game rivalry.
This is the one I want. I'm sticking with fucking Iowa, man. I'm riding it. Iowa is dogs in this game, Smalls.
I know they are. The problem that I see. So you're going Iowa here.
100%.
I'm probably gonna regret this. I'm gonna go Iowa State here.
Ooh.
I think Iowa might have. They might be getting a little ahead of themselves. I think with that big win,
Okay.
we'll see how big of a win that ends up being against Indiana. I think the decision here is going to be how bad Iowa's offense turns out to be. So we'll see. I think Brock Purdy and Breece Hall will come through in this one. So I'm going to go Iowa State.
I'm taking Iowa at plus 4.5, but I just talked about the over/under. Iowa put up around, I think it was like 34 in last week, something around there, like 30 points. Iowa State put up 16 against a Northern Iowa team that we would not consider great. Yep. I think there's a lot of concern there, but I also do fully believe, as much as I hate Sam Howell, I believe in Brock Purdy from a college football perspective. Give me the over set at 46 there with Iowa plus 4.5 as the winner.
I'll get into my bets here in a bit, but I kind of differ with you on that.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cuck it. This is just where I get to toss up my bets because I know you have it after.
No, it's fine. I get it. Texas, Arkansas. Arkansas is a team that I think a lot of people are talking about, at least preseason. I don't think that Arkansas has the caliber to really keep up with Texas, especially after that big win against Louisiana. So I'm going to go Texas here.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Texas is a 7-point favorite. I mean, I was pretty adamant last week that I thought Wisconsin would beat Penn State by a touchdown. I think that it would be pretty fraudulent if I didn't assume Texas could beat Arkansas by a touchdown. I think 7's a fair line, but give me Texas -7. The over-under currently set at 56. I'm going with the under here. It's not that I don't believe in Steve Sarkisian's offense, but I do believe Steve Sarkisian is going to work, his team very well. And in Arkansas, they're solid. You know what I mean? They're not like a program that you write home about. They're a decent team. I'm trying to think. What did they come off last week? It was a Arkansas. Rice game, 38-17 against Rice.
That's the thing, though. They were down against Rice going in halftime. So,
wow. Give me Texas in the under then.
Yep. Miami, App State. This one's a tough one because I think Miami has the talent.
I love Appalachian State for no reason.
I'm going App State, dude.
Are you?
I'm going. App State is one of the strongest group of 5 teams out there, and they've been shown to shock teams before. They're a good team. They gave Penn State a scare a few years ago. I'm going App State.
They have some of the coolest content on the internet. I love their TikTok. I love their Instagram. Follow it from a selfish perspective. You know what? I'm going to take App State to cover. I like that. They're 9-point dogs against a Miami team that just got rocked. I think Miami can come back, but as you mentioned, King looked like he lost a step, man. So give me Appalachian State +9. Give me the under. Line is set at 55 points here. Miami didn't put up enough offense, even against Alabama, who's the #1 defense, I would assume. They didn't put up enough to make me excited, and I don't believe in Appalachian State as a powerhouse scoring unit. I just think they're a good team.
Yep, I agree. Washington, Michigan. I threw this one in there because there's
I'm interested why Michigan's on this list.
Frankly, because it is 2 big-name programs, and there just aren't a ton of big matchups this week. This is considered one of the bigger ones.
You don't believe that Vanderbilt and Colorado State are a big matchup out of Tennessee?
Well, actually, I did think about putting Pitt, Tennessee on there. Yeah, I did think about that. But I'm gonna go Michigan here. I do think they played Central Michigan, but Central Michigan actually is one of the contenders for the MAC this year, and Michigan just absolutely shit kicked them. So I'm gonna go Michigan here. Looks like their run. So Michigan had over 300 yards rushing.
Jeez.
So their quarterback play isn't quite what it really should be, but I think their run game is really gonna drive this home. And Washington. Now, I don't think that they're not going to come in overlooking this game, obviously, but they did lose to Montana week 1.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 7-13. Like, it's one of those things where Washington is always considered a decent team, right? You got Jacob Eason, you got Miles Gaskin, you got some big names coming out of there. Obviously, the first round bust for the Bengals, the wide receiver, John Ross. You always get a guy here that I'm really interested in. So I'm invested in their franchise. But that being said, 7-13 against a Montana team is pretty ass.
Yep.
Give me Michigan -7. And then even though Michigan put up 41 points last week, actually, let's go with it. Let's go with the over 48.5 because Michigan puts up enough points. I do believe Washington at least hits double digits for the first time this season, which is good, but I think Michigan can defeat Washington pretty heavily.
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, I think Washington came in with a lot of unearned hype, so that's why I'm going Michigan here. All right. Don't tell my bookie. So I'm going back to my boys here. Coastal.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Now, the spread is set at like 25 or something, but they're playing Kansas, which is the worst Power 5 conference in the Power 5 team in the nation. But I'm telling you, man, Coast, I don't think the line set at 52, I don't think that is impossible to hit because I think Kansas is going to at least put some points on the board, and I think Coastal, if anything, is just going to run up the score. I'm going to take the over here. I'm going all over-unders on this one. Just because I did not
hit
any of my spread picks last week. So, Oregon, Ohio State, I'm taking the over here, and it's simply because Ohio State has that firepower, and I think Oregon's going to have to open up the playbook and really just it's going to be a shootout, I think, just because Ohio State is Ohio State right now. Iowa State, taking the under because Iowa has gone under in 12 of their last 18 games. They've hit the under 5 out of their last 6 games against opponents in the Big 12 conference. Iowa State has gone under in 5 out of their last 6 games.
Jeez. And
the total under in this game over the past 6 years has hit the under 5 out of 6 times. So I'm going to take the under Iowa State, taking the under at 46, just because I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think that's pretty much it. So
I like when we pick different stuff.
Yep, I agree. I'm looking at the trends right now. I try to look at trends, especially now. It's hard to tell with the new season what the trends really are, but I do think Iowa State is always pretty consistent, and I know that Ohio State team is going to put up a fuck ton of points.
Now that you're just taking, what'd you say, the over on Coastal?
Yep,
dude, Coastal's 25-point favorite right now.
They are.
Jeez, I just saw that. Like in front of like hearing it's different than seeing it in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
25 points against Kansas.
Yep, that's crazy. The fact that Coastal Carolina is favored that heavily against a Power 5 team is a lot. Kansas is by far the worst Power 5 team in the country. Like they're a joke, and they have been for a long time.
I feel like, that like we talk about it decent. Just be a basketball school. Like it's okay. Just be a basketball school.
It's fine.
But I'm with you. I'm going to take Coastal -25 and the over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Coastal takes the pedal off the metal when they go up. That's where I'm at with this because they have a point to prove.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are going to put up 60 points themselves.
Yep, 100%. All right, Deke.
Oh boy,
it's time. I forgot to grab the Pit Vipers. But fuck Graham Mertz, that prima donna piece of shit. We went out there, showed what our defense is all about. What a tone to set at the start of the year. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to the Natty this year. I went in with blind confidence last week just because I had to. I actually think that this is 1,000% our year to at least challenge Ohio State because our defense is that fucking good. Ellis Brooks, dog. Jaquan Brisker, dog. Jesse Lucetta, dog. Brandon Smith, dog.
James Franklin, dog.
Dude, Joey Porter Jr., dog. Dude, our defense it was immaculate to see. It made me think of our Penn State teams from back in the 2000s. This was so good to see. And I do think that Ball State this week will give us an opportunity to kind of work out some of the kinks. But you know what? Hey, our boys are back. Sean Clifford at least had spurts of looking good. Mike Yursich worked out at least somewhat of a game plan against a tough Wisconsin defense. My boys are back. That's all I gotta say. My boys are back. How was that?
I love the blind faith into the boys. Is that's the thing? Is you're a parade to nowhere heading into a wood area that's on fire, and you're proud of it, and I love it.
Yeah, I have to. I'm a fan. Like I said
Big
last week,
facts.
I'm a fan. I have no other
Big
choice.
facts.
I was in a Penn State Nittany Lion costume at age 2. I have no choice but to just go in every year with the blind confidence, thinking that this is our year. And I think the defense is good enough to at least prove some people wrong.
Who's the greatest Penn State player ever?
That's too hard of a question to answer.
Wrong, LeVar Arrington.
Not damn it, that sucks. So you could go a lot of ways here.
Blackwater.
I'm gonna Kerry. So Kerry
Is he not the best quarterback ever?
Kerry Collins, I think, was an elite quarterback. I mean,
Fair,
we went
fair.
undefeated in '94. Kajana Carter, great running back then.
Amazing.
Um,
Who went ahead? Wasn't it who went ahead of LeVar Arrington? Brown.
yeah. Courtney Brown.
Courtney
Yeah.
Brown. Thank you. Yeah. It's just so many big names out of it, man.
Paul Posluszny was dog. Dude, I love that video too. Like,
so
that
good.
clip is so funny.
As soon as you said the first one, I was like, I'm in this. I'm ready.
No, I gotta believe in my guys, and I think this is at least a lot of people were counting us out.
Shit. Saquon Barkley. Dog.
Trace McSorley.
Micah Parsons.
Dog.
Trace McSorley.
Dog.
Woof.
Hey, at Penn State, he was a dog. He got put on the practice squad in Baltimore, but at Penn State, he was a dog.
Still a dog.
Mike Gesicki.
Dog. Pat Fryermuth. Dog.
Allen Robinson.
Robinson. Dog.
I could keep going, but
Pitt just said Dan Marino. It's not like a big deal.
which
And Aaron Donald.
Penn State ruined a national championship for them back in
You did. And then Pitt
86.
beat Penn State in the past 10 years, so I can keep talking about it.
once.
That's all that matters.
In the year that we also won the Big Ten championship,
Only
which
takes
actually is
one.
props to Pitt on that. That was a good game.
Yeah.
That was a good game. All right, Deke.
Yes, sir.
That was a good one.
Great show, man. I'm so excited to watch college. I'm literally going to be a vegetable this whole weekend.
So, I know I'm gonna regret this a little bit, but I really want a weekend where I can just sit down and watch college football. Unfortunately,
NFL football.
fortunately, I currently have tickets to go to Yankees Mets on the 20th anniversary of 9/11
Jeez,
on
that's
Saturday.
heavy.
So I don't know how much football I'm gonna be able to watch on Saturday.
That's heavy as shit.
But hey, Subway Series, you can't really beat that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be dope.
So it's gonna be heavy, but like I'm
Do
pretty
it.
excited for it.
Good.
So I'll be in New York all day Saturday. I gotta try to talk some people into letting me watch a few games. I mean, Penn State's playing Ball State. I'll have to watch it. I'm not gonna be as invested as some other games.
Nope.
But you know,
I'm with you.
All right, Deke. Been a good one.
Appreciate you, brother. Lawn boys. Bench
Lawn
boys.
are back. Lawn boys are back. I really
Love it.
want to bring that T-shirt back too. I really
All right,
want a
dope.
Lawn Boys T-shirt. Yeah.
I can do that. If they win this weekend, I'll do it.
All right. Nice. Can I get that in writing?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. Tweet it
tomorrow.
right now.
Tomorrow.
At me.
I had it Ben last week. Are we going to end this? Are we literally going to end this show every week? It's a fucking segment.
New segment. Yeah, the greatest segment. The best segment on the show.
I got to
The
stop.
newest segment on the
Hold
show.
on. If Penn State beats... Actually, I'm going to tag Penn State and Ball State.
Nice.
If Penn State football beats Ball State football this weekend, thoughts from the bench will add the hashtag lawn. Is it with a Z?
Yep.
Shirt back to the store
Yep. For people that don't know, I do kind of want to show this.
at Smalls. And I'm gonna at Elsass just because he has no idea what lawn. I know lawn boys. He doesn't. Anyone else we know that went to Penn State? Hey, cares about it? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right, you two get it. Well, I guess he didn't technically go to Penn State. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So, for people that don't know, this is the Lawn Boys chain, which is electric, in my opinion. Just hilarious. Like, what the fuck is a lawn boy? I think that's so funny. Anyway, Deke, it's been a good one. Long live college football. I'm just glad it's back.
I'm excited to be a part of it this season.
I'm glad you're along for the ride, buddy.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.
Yeah, I was going to throw one of those in there, too, because I saw you had the hat on.
Big Duck guy.
Can we, nah, that's a little bit of a stretch. I would love to have Duck on the show just to talk about his days down at Sanford.
Unfortunately, he's a free agent right now, so I need to wait till there's some better news in his situation, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I want to have him on and talk about his Sanford days.
Duck's a god, man.
He was like
he's the number one yardage in FCS.
Yeah. I would love to have him on if he would come on this sham of a show. But all right, Deke, catch you next week, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yep.